And I tell you this, my breakout moment in broadcasting was in Winnipeg doing the Wednesday Lottery with Don Whitman. And my favorite author, you can see there's a lot of books in behind me here. My favorite author is from Steinbach, Manitoba. Her name is Miriam Taves, and she moved up. Great story about Miriam. Her father, Mel, ran a school in Steinbach, but on weekends for pin money, he would sell his eggs up in Winnipeg. He would drop off containers of eggs. So at one point, he was getting ready to marry a woman named Elvira, who would be Miriam Taves, the author's mom. And he wanted to build a house just like one he'd seen in Winnipeg dropping off eggs. So Elvira says, well, what's it like inside? He says, oh, I have no idea. I just drop the eggs on the veranda and I move on. She said, well, you got to look inside to see if it's a house worth building. He says, I can't ask to go inside. I'm an egg deliverer. She said, leave it to me. So they go up to Winnipeg from Steinbach. She knocks on the door and says, do you mind if we have a look around? My husband here, Mel, wants to build a home just like this in Steinbach, and it will be our new wedding gift. And the guy says, come on in. It was Bill Mosienko. Bill Mosienko holds the record for the fastest hat trick in NHL history. He scored 3 goals in 21 seconds. And that just proves he's a good egg. Oh, sorry, there's a pun.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now,
if you had to lose one item into the fire, what would you rather be, a hot dog or a marshmallow? 80% of people saying they couldn't bear to lose the hot dog.
how about that?
But when a marshmallow's burning, it's on fire, man, that's just a horrible feeling, too.
Right. I know.
And you can't touch it.
And you're looking around, everybody's occupied with their own thing, and you're like, help me, somebody blow it out.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Welcome on up inside, everybody. Welcome to Canada's favorite daytime sports live talk show. I think also Canada's only live daytime sports talk show coming at you on the Game Plus television network. We're on the radio too, WQEE 99.1 FM in Metro Atlanta. Shout out Rhino Radio. And obviously, podcast platform. It's a Tuesday. We are basically, if you're just new to what we do here, Canada's Pardon the Interruption. That's what we're going to do today. I'm in the South Florida studio. Darren Moose DuPont is in the Toronto studio, and I will just say this. The guests today are from Oilers TV, Sportsnet Oilers, Gene Principe, and from Sportsnet Toronto, Arash Madani. But Moose has often said that the action just follows me. It's both a good and bad thing, a bit of a curse. Like the puck follows Gretzky, it follows Crosby. I'm just always where the action is. And in a moment, I'm going to tell you why. And it's this Twitter feud that's embroiled the hockey world. Everybody's talking about it. Darren, what has you excited about today's show? Like I know, but you tell everybody else if you don't mind, and then we'll get down to business.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. You talked about it, the Twitter feud. Man, between Mark Spector and Tim Peel, that kind of took over the whole morning. You know, I didn't know what we were going to do today. I knew we were talking about the Oiler game last night, you know, falling to Florida. I knew we'd talk about that, you know, Monday Night Football. My TV's been filled with Ted Lasso quotes from Jim Harbaugh ahead of Michigan and Ohio State this weekend. But then this Twitter thing pops right into my timeline this morning, and that's all anybody wants to talk about now.
Well, some people won't care. Some really will care. And because it's the RP show with co-host Darren DuPont, it's what we care about. And we'll get to that. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? And we'll get down to business. It's NHL leftovers from Monday night. Here are some of the highlight games. It's not all of them, but in Tampa Bay, Steven Stamkos scored the tying goal with 4.8 seconds left in regulation, and Brandon Hagel got the winner on a breakaway, 119 into overtime, as the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Eastern Conference leading Boston Bruins 5-4. Here in Sunrise, where we're going to spend a lot of time on this, Nico Mikkola had the first 2-goal game of his career. Kevin Stenlund had a 3-point effort, and Florida rallied to defeat Edmonton 5-3. The Oilers, get this, in games where they've allowed 3 or more goals, are 1-10-1. And we'll come back on that. I want to tell you that, incidentally, I'm wearing a pair of Flames shorts today. These are team issue. Can you see it? There you go. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. And I'm still sick, as you can tell. But Andrew Mangiapane scored the tying goal, 4:07 left in regulation. And Rasmus Andersson scored the winner, 3:28 into overtime to rally Calgary past the Kraken in Seattle, 4-3. So they've taken a day or two break from lighting the city on fire in Calgary because the Flames have been playing decent, coming off that loss to the Islanders on the weekend. And in Vancouver, Quinn Hughes had a goal and an assist, leading Vancouver past San Jose. I don't have the score in my story here. Doesn't matter. It's
3-1.
Trust me, Vancouver. Okay, trust me, Vancouver beat San Jose. That's all that matters. So to the Oilers, we're at the game. When teasing the people, when we say that the action always follows where I am, that's a fact, Jack. So I had been waiting for months for the Connor Bedard Chicago Blackhawks game here on Sunrise. Serena had been waiting for months for the Oilers to come, and it was Monday night. And I'm kind of upset. They jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Let me really get into it, because you know the rules in the press box, no cheering. Serena either was absent that day or doesn't care. Because in the arena, they're playing Let's Go Panthers. It's sold-out crowd, 19.5. And Serena's in the press box at Amerit Bank Arena going, Let's go Oilers. I'm like, can you? You don't tell her what to do, as you know. And before the game even started, we're in the media press room, and I had the longest chat with Mark Spector of Sportsnet Oilers coverage I've ever had in my life. And to be honest, I didn't really know that he even knew who I was. But Mark wanted to know everything about this show, the Cats and Bolts podcast. He's like, I follow, I watch. Mark Spector, okay? And then it was great. We had a lovely meal. It was chicken cordon bleu, some of the best beef tenderloin you ever had in your life, and clam chowder soup. It was like the Golden Corral of NHL media meals. And then we get up to the press box, the usual gangs all together, but we're excited because who do I get to see? Bob Stauffer, Cam Moon, Ken Holland, the usual archive, Bill Lindsay, Randy Moeller, and we sat with Billy's dad. And Serena was, I'll be honest, running around the press box, taking an informal poll of what's wrong with the Oilers, and pretty much nobody had an answer. Specifically, Bill Lindsay. He was like, I don't know. She wanted an answer, damn it. Everybody wants an answer. Then we find out this morning that Connor McDavid and the aforementioned Mark Spector got in a bit of a spat face-to-face, which I got way more thoughts on. It was a weird question about would you rather win 4-1 than lose. Did you watch the clip? Because McDavid was like, I know you like asking that question, but did you? What was it?
Something about, I got to go back and watch the clip because, I never actually seen the clip and the response. I was just reading the transcribed version of it, but yeah, something about winning 4-1 versus, I don't know what the opposite of that would be, because it's obvious. Of course you want to win 4-1, right? So that's kind of the point.
Yeah. So furthermore, I think this is why the universe, and I like to say God, but if you people aren't God people, then just say why the universe has put me in these positions. And it's great positions. But I'm like, Mark Spector, to be honest, I kind of thought he was an arrogant newspaper guy that just flipped over to TV, like a lot of them. And then it turns out he's a really nice guy. He's like, I'm really happy that your show's going so great. I'm really happy that you're great. Maybe I'll get a gig covering the Panthers one day because it looks awesome. He was really nice. Mark Spector. And then I get up this morning and I see Tim Peel, the former NHL referee, chose violence. Tim Peel woke up and chose violence. He came after Mark Spector with a figurative knife in Twitter and just said, stupid question. This is why players don't want to play in Canada. He just came after Spector. I guess it was in the DMs or it was a personal conversation. And to be honest, they went back and forth at each other. And what Spector thought clearly was a private conversation. Peel screenshots it, puts it on Twitter for all the world to see. There was F-bombs dropped. It was bad. It was vicious. between Tim Peel and Mark Spector, and then Frank Zaravelli, the baby-faced assassin, Frank Zaravelli, formerly of TSN and now the Daily Faceoff. He's entered the chat. And Frank, you want to talk about choosing violence? He came at Peel with a knife, thump, right in the chest. Were you drunk tweeting again and then deleting it, Tim? Was one of the things. I'm like, what the hell? So we're 8 minutes in. We're going to get to a life lesson here real quickly. But I guess you said Ryan Rashog in Edmonton, TSN's bureau reporter up there, has just kind of walked it back and said, what are we doing here, guys? Private conversations should never be made public, and it's you take it over from here. Like, on one hand, who really cares? On the other, a lot of people really care. And we all in our morning meeting today said, if this is the View for sports fans, the morning coffee talk, this is what they'd be talking about on the View, because this is what Canada and the NHL is talking about clearly. And I'll just say this about Spector. He said he's been covering the Oilers for 30 years. What, honestly, are you going to say to Connor McDavid after they crapped the bed again and just fired the coach a week ago? What are you going to ask him? And you're standing there by his side every single flipping game. That ain't an easy job either. What it tells me is tensions are pretty high. Tensions are pretty high.
They're really high. And that's not a job. That's, being a reporter is a tough job because you got to be there. You got to be asking the tough questions. It is not easy. I mean, you look at the job that happens in the CFL. I mean, you got to ask some tough questions, and it's a small, intimate league. I think even as big as the NHL is in those markets, it's still pretty small and intimate, And
yeah. On
the one hand, I look at it a couple ways. There was a saying to me that said, it's kind of a business thing. If you got to wonder if you're going to do something, here's how you should act. Don't do anything unless you'd be comfortable with it being on the front page of the newspaper the next day. So doing things, saying things, the way you conduct yourself in private and in public, you should be comfortable with it being on the front page of the paper because that's who you are, right? So on the one hand, I'm like, if this is how you talk in DMs, like, are you trying to hide who you really are? But on the other hand, it's a private DM conversation. This wasn't replies back and forth in a public forum. This was meant to be one-on-one, and I think it's a bit of a cowardly move to screenshot it and share it with the public because I sit there thinking, what are you trying to prove by screenshotting this and sharing this? You're trying to prove that he's a jerk, and all you're doing is showing the world that you're a jerk for posting it, and it doesn't make anybody look good. So yeah, I just don't like it.
Well, you started off this morning in our morning meeting saying we're in an interesting time. And then you got into, Ryan Rashog's involvement here. This is different than what it's been forever. Like, Serena with great glee was showing me from Oilers Nation the photos that they posted of letters to the Edmonton Journal from 40 years ago and how psycho Oiler fans were in the 80s. We didn't even have the internet then. So people haven't really changed. But you didn't have the opportunity to rip each other's throats out. And that's bad, And so as I was telling her about the Tim Peel thing this morning, she goes, what's wrong with Tim Peel that he would do that? Now, I think we all know he was fired by the NHL for an incident that, he'd like to have back. I don't feel he was at fault. He got screwed over by the NHL, and Tim Peel ain't over it. That's one thing. And then for Mark Spector, he's just defending himself. All he was doing was defending himself. And Tim Peel wouldn't let it go. Tim Peel's the guy with a problem here. And Craig Campbell writes in from the Hockey Hall of Fame. He says, looking forward to another great show. Thanks for the fine, informative entertainment. Thank you, Craig, as we sit here and talk about the issues of the day. And trust me, I'm even going to move on to something far more positive here in a second. Jen from the Four Seasons writes in. She says, good morning, everyone. The Oilers blow another game with the lead early. Need to blow up that defense. So frustrated. And if Serena had more time, I'd have had her on the air today. I mean, she was upset last night after the game. I think she was upset this morning. You know me. I'm like, I'm sitting there going, did I do something? No, the Oilers crapped the bed again. To me, I just can't Sports results don't get me upset. And this is where I said the life lesson. I kind of sit here and go, because I deal with so many people that are dealing with tragedy in my other life, the recovery coaching, I have a very tough time having the fortunes of a hockey or football team affect my mood. And I got so many people flying around me at 100 mile an hour, and I'm like, I want to be immovable. I want to be the mountain that doesn't get affected. And what I mean by that is my very best friend, sorry to say, but died of cancer last spring, as you know, at the age of 45, and left behind 3 school-age children. His family would love to think their biggest problems were that the Oilers lost last night. And in a way, I thought, is that too simplistic? Is that the wrong way to look at things? Because this is the way that I look at things, but maybe that's not the same for everybody. But maybe you should. Like, just walk it back a little bit. In these wars, because if Tim Peel's doing it and Mark Spector's doing it and Frank Saravelli, people are doing it out in society, in the workplace and stuff.
Oh.
Does it make you feel good? How does it make you feel inside? And I participated in that. I've been guilty of that. I just don't do it anymore. All I'm saying is ground yourself a little bit and realize what really is important, that the Oilers blew a 2-0 lead. My God. I mean, fine, you want to be upset for a while. I wouldn't go to bed angry about it because you can't control it. You cannot control it. And that's the other thing about last night was the Oilers have literally done everything. Demoted Jack Campbell, changed up the lines, fired the coach. And I put that on Twitter. I said, they did all these things and they still suck. And somebody said, well, they haven't fired the coach or the general manager yet. They haven't benched these guys yet. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess they can still try a few more things. So the poll question today is, will the Edmonton Oilers ever figure it out? And it's for Key Auto Group. Unleash the future at Key Yorkton Kia. Unleash the future, the Kia EV6 GT at Key Yorkton Kia, where performance and innovation go hand in hand. Go to keyyorktonkia.com or call 306-783-2772 for more information. The 23 Kia EV6 GT, movement that inspires. Can I use an excuse? Everybody else is. Darren, I'm lightheaded, okay? They took some blood out of me this morning at the doctor, see, and I got shots here. Shot. Yeah, I'm out. I'm lightheaded. I'm actually not, but if I offend anybody, that'll be my excuse. By the way, the results are about 50-50 if the Oilers are going to figure this thing out or not. And what's the definition of figuring it out? To me, it's, are they going to win a Stanley Cup in Connor McDavid's time? That would be the definition to me of the Oilers figuring it out. What would be your definition?
Yeah, figuring it out and winning a cup. I think, or at least, sometimes you can't control that, but at least getting back to constantly contending. I mean, they have been, but yeah, they have to win a cup, really. I mean, in McDavid's tenure and Draisaitl. When you look back on this and say, we had Draisaitl and McDavid, the number one player in the world and another top player in the world, arguably in the top 5, and we didn't win. If you look back on this and say we didn't win, you're going to look back and be awful disappointed and full of regret. These types of players don't come along very often, so they do need to find a way to figure this out.
You look at the guys of that ilk, Lemieux, Gretzky, Crosby, they've all won cups. If McDavid doesn't, that'll be a major flubbing by the Edmonton Oilers. And I've given up talking about him wanting out. I would say I'd be shocked if he asked for a trade or wanted out. And I'm not done on that. There's more, but we're going to switch over to football when we return. We've got Gene Principe and Arash Madani on the way. Lots to get to today. I knew it was going to be great. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The next stop on the Mixed Doubles Super Series is Winnipeg, Manitoba. Catch all the action from Port Rouge Curling Club with 3-sheet coverage.
Yes!
Head to MDSuperSeries.com to subscribe today and watch some of the world's best mixed doubles curlers face off live.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We are live Canada-wide on Game Plus Television and in 31 U.S. states, including Florida, some pockets of this beautiful state carrying the RP show on your telly. But we're also on the radio, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live. And, yeah, that's where I'm at. Moose is in Toronto. I guess I don't know where to go. Let's just bring the Moose in. We do have breaking news. Boston Bruins forward Milan Lucic was released on personal recognizance bail today after pleading not guilty to assaulting his wife. According to a Boston Police Department report, Lucic appeared intoxicated when officers arrived at his North End apartment early Saturday after his wife reported that he tried to choke her. Brittany Lucic told the responding officers that her husband had pulled her hair but said he did not try to strangle her. She declined an offer of medical treatment. Lucic, a member of the 2011 Bruins Stanley Cup team, was arrested on suspicion of assault and battery on a family member, which carries a maximum penalty of 2.5 years in prison. Lucic did not speak at his arraignment this morning. A plea of not guilty was entered on his behalf, and a pretrial hearing was set for January 19th. As a condition of his bail, Lucic was prohibited from abusing the alleged victim and from consuming alcohol. So that's the one breaking news item from today. Herb writes in from Melville on the Sober Carpenter text line, and he says, good day, you and Moose. Rod, I don't know if it's too late. Milan Lucic needs an intervention. So sad what booze does. I said to Darren before the show, 94% of people that will show up in court today and any courtroom across North America committed their crimes while under the influence of a substance. 94%, and there's one right there. Devil's juice. John in Calgary writes in and he says, Darnell Nurse makes a better door than a window. Yes, he did get in the way of his goalie seeing last night. For you, Moose, Ray in Tryon, North Carolina. He says, good afternoon. How rare is it for the same city to have both the Vanier Cup and the Grey Cup in the same year? I sincerely appreciate all your CFL coverage. Hopefully in 2024, we, Winnipeg, can reclaim the blue. Both Toronto and Montreal wore all blue while beating my Bombers. I can think of two instances that the Grey Cup and the Vanier have been on the same weekend in the same city.
Toronto, Vancouver, right?
Toronto 07. Toronto 07, Vancouver 2011. I was at both. That's pretty rare out of 100 years of awarding these cups.
So rare. And now they're on different weekends, which changes things up a little bit. And it is nice, you know, the Vanier Cup this Saturday in Kingston gets its own stage. But largely in our nation's football footprint, it'll get forgotten. You know, the audience will be good, but it won't be great. I remember the Vancouver, you would remember these better than I would, but the Vancouver Vanier/Grey Cup was great. And the fact that, wasn't there 30,000 people at the Vanier Cup?
I was 35,000, I believe, and I was there.
Right.
I was one of them.
And how many were in Toronto? Do you remember?
25,000 probably.
Pretty impressive, you know, and I know you want to give the event its due, but I think that's just such a great way to showcase university football. And even if you had something where your Grey Cup ticket got you into the Vanier and it was another opportunity to be involved, I just think it would be a great showcase to get it back on the same day. I'm a fan of that because I want to see the big crowds, but I do understand getting it into these other markets like Kingston. It's been in Laval quite a bit in Quebec. It was in Saskatoon. So anyways.
We've addressed this. We run into a problem here, and it's a wonderful segue. If you want to know what we're doing here, we go back and forth between football and hockey, hockey and football. Canada's two official languages. I'm bilingual, proficient in both. It all works great when you're in dome stadiums. It works tickety-boo. But in 07, what year was it that we had the Grey Cup in Regina? It must have been 03, if that sounds right. Anyways, the year that it was in Saskatoon, yeah, they had it in Saskatoon, people almost died. It was minus 47. That's when we run into a problem. And frankly, I'm the guy, which I've given up on everything, that the Canadian Act should be halftime, that we need to expand into this. I've given up on everything. I don't argue about it anymore. I'd like to see the Grey Cups played in domes every season. You got Montreal, you got Toronto, you got Vancouver. And then you would be able to have the Vanier Cup on the Friday night. We all talk about how great it was when it was in domes. But no, Rod doesn't know anything. For a while, I believed that narrative. And now I realize I just think differently. I'm outnumbered. Bye. The end. Bomber Boy in Calgary writes in and he says, I'm still licking my wounds from the Grey Cup. Bomberland's gone dark, like tonight in the NHL. I will say this about Winnipeg. A lot of respect for them as a sports city. And I get it. We have our fun barbs. They get the rivalry stuff. The Bombers get it. The Jets get it. We go back and forth. It's supposed to be fun. They lost. It sucks. Nobody's saying na. We're not, because they're hearty, prairie, tough people, just like you and me, and we have fun when the season's on, but when somebody's struggling, you don't kick them when they're down. So they're licking their wounds. Bomber Boy just said it. They'll be back. And thanks for a great game, Winnipeg. Just one more on the hockey, and I got to get to football. Brian in Hudson Bay, which you might think is a little out of the way for NHL news, but then once you realize the NHL connections that run through Hudson Bay, this might make sense. He says, "Good day, guys. You say they haven't fired the GM yet, but from what I hear, Ken Holland is out after this year, and the new guy, Jeff Jackson's, already calling the shots. So maybe they fired the GM without really firing him. LOL." Just a thought. Great show as usual. I was amongst all those guys last night. I don't know what the hell's going on. And when you said earlier in the morning meeting, and I repeated it on the air here, we're in a different time. I see this morning on Instagram. We're getting our flippin' news from Instagram, not the Edmonton Sun, okay? That's the world we're in. Emily Kaplan coming out from ESPN saying Connor McDavid's uncomfortable with the narrative that he orchestrated all these moves, that his agent's now the acting general manager, whatever the hell it is. His junior coach was the coach. Connor's upset about that. And my take on that is, and we can argue on that, people say perception's reality, Rod, perception's reality. And I'm like, no, it isn't. Reality's reality. So it doesn't matter what people think, because 100 different people are going to have 100 different opinions. What matters is what's really going on. Who cares how it looks? And I'm not saying I'm necessarily right, but that is how I feel. Connor, if you didn't orchestrate this, then don't worry about it. You scored 2 goals last night, played your ass off. You aren't the problem. Don't worry about it. Can I move on, or do you have any last points on that?
No, I just look at that situation and say, look, I mean, at what point is it just a coincidence that all these people that were close to him are in these positions of power? And how much was it Connor? I mean, it could be the organization saying, look, let's do this. This will, we think this will make him happy. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's Connor calling the shots. I just think, it's not going to be over anytime soon, but he's just sitting there being like, geez, enough. I just want to play hockey. I just want to get back to winning. I just want to get back to the way things were. It's just not the case, and it's not happening anytime soon.
Okay. I'm smiling because I put on Twitter, any questions for Mean Gene Principe? And we got some good ones that have come in here. Gene Principe coming up next segment. Point 2, Monday Night Football. Jalen Hurts ran for a pair of touchdowns, including a go-ahead score in the fourth quarter, and the Eagles rallied from a 10-point halftime deficit to beat the Chiefs 21-17 in a Super Bowl rematch. With less than 2 minutes to go, Marquez Valdez-Scantling had a would-be 51-yard touchdown pass slip through his hands, and the Eagles made a stand on 4th down to put the game away. Just so you know, regular season rematches are not adequate revenge for championship losses. I get all the build-up. I get it, because that's what we do, build up and hype. But don't think the Eagles are celebrating anything because they beat the Chiefs in a game that really doesn't matter. If they meet in the Super Bowl again, that's different. Point 3, what I wanted to get at, the Montreal Alouettes' last-second upset win in the 110th Grey Cup was a hit on television across the country. Over 2.8 million Canadians watched on TSN, while an additional 752,000 tuned in on French TSN. The combined TDS and RDS rating lifts the CFL's games average TV number 14.5% year over year. You know that there are very few things in the world I love more than my press box conversations. I just love them. And last night we were having it. All these guys from Edmonton were down here in Sunrise or South Florida on Sunday. I said, what'd you do on the day off? Went to practice, went to the beach, and then watched the Grey Cup. They're all excited. I think the Oilers put together a big screen for their players to watch if they wanted to, because the NHL's full of Canadians. And what do Canadians love? The CFL and the Grey Cup. We all watched it. I think this is awesome. 3.5 million. Spector said it. He goes, these are NHL Stanley Cup final numbers. That's what Spector said. We're all excited about it. This is great, great news for the CFL.
Awesome. It is big. The numbers were huge, and I saw some people, including Nelson Hackwich. I think he was the one who put it out on social. He pulled up a bunch of the online social media numbers too. And when you look at the TV numbers are up, not only on English TV, but on French TV, RDS as well. Those numbers were high. And then streaming numbers on the CFL Plus was really good. And then you factor in, Green Day engaging in the halftime show. They posted it on their social media feeds, all of them. And collectively, there's another 3.5 million people that watched the halftime show through their social channels. So the CFL has a ton of hype here and a ton of momentum, and this ball is picking up steam, rolling downhill. So let's hope this can be something that they build off of.
Yeah, so that's going to be up to them how they do that. Have things changed? I told you I've given up on that the Grey Cup halftime act needs to be Canadian. I've given up on all the things that I've been championing. And another is that they can't go away for 6 months.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's see. I mean, I think producer Clark was saying he's giving some of the Alouettes a couple days to get over the partying and the hangover that goes with it. And then we'll see about getting some of the winning members of the Grey Cup team on the show. But other than that, CFL, wiki, gonna have to pick up the phone. I know there's not a lot of media left across the country of Canada, but call the ones that are and make those rounds, because we're not gonna do it for them. And I don't want to be that guy, negative Nancy today, but when I was trying to do it in the past, what did those people say from the CFL? This is not headquarters in the league office, but with the teams. We need a break, too. We need a break. We need an off season. Okay, we're going to go talk about the NHL and the NFL. Enjoy your off season. Now, having said that, 3.5 million tuned in for the Grey Cup, so what the hell do I know? Maybe they got it all figured out, Moose. See you back here for hour 2, okay? Okay?
You bet. See you then.
In that next hour, we'll be talking about the NBA in-season tournament, whatever the hell that is. Joey Bats, is up for Hall of Fame induction in Cooperstown. Thoughts on that? And Jimmy Johnson finally going to get into the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor. It's big news in Dallas, and that's my team. We'll talk about that. But Gene Principe next. Get your questions in. I got a few good ones. We're live on the Game Plus television network. We're also on the radio, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Gorgeous day in South Florida. Just checking in. Sober Carpenter text line 902-518-3033. You can write us day or night. Steve in Steinbach, Manitoba says the ratings were fantastic for the Grey Cup. The Chiefs are in big trouble. Kirk in Toronto writes in and says, "Hi, Rod. My therapist says I have all but recovered from the Eastern final loss. Amen." Richard in Edmonton writes in and says the Oilers need defense. A goalie is as good as their defense. Trade Nurse for starters or take $6 million per season away from him. LOL, his wage could have 2 top defensemen. There you go. The armchair GMs are at it. Let's bring in Gene Principe, a guy who looks really at home here in South Florida. Hello, Gino. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Rod, long time no see. It was nice to see you in person. I feel like one of your fans when I saw you last night at the game. I was like, he's taller in person than I expected. I've seen you before, but it's been a while, so it's nice to see you again.
It's the Florida sunshine. We grow here, Gene. Hey, it's always nice to see you. I would have talked to you about a little more, but you came out of that tunnel and just, whoom, fans were all over you there before the game. I'm like, oh, man, no thanks. God bless Gene for putting up with it. How did you, I assume you're in Carolina now. Aside from the games, how did you enjoy this little southern swing for the Oil?
We'll split it in two. Personally, getting to Florida, I remember back in 2006, and the Oilers were in Anaheim playing the Ducks in the conference final, and Craig McTavish, then coach, said, there's just something about the sunshine and the palm trees that it just kind of, you release as much tension sort of as possible, and your nerves, you're just more relaxed. I don't know if there's anything medically, the vitamin D doesn't hurt, but for sure, Tampa was a bit rainy. The Oilers came out early. Oftentimes now West Coast teams will fly out not just the day before the game, but 2 days before the game, so then they have full day of practice and then play, which I did in Tampa. Tampa was a bit rainy. Started to get sunny before we left, and then Sunrise/Miami was, beautiful couple of days. I mean, you just go sit on the beach and you just listen to the waves and you people watch and you relax. I mean, listen, the weather in Edmonton has been fantastic. Double digits. Well, we couldn't ask for more than we've had, but there's something about this part of the world that makes it special.
Yeah, well, you've probably noticed, you spent enough time here, that there are very few angry people in Florida. And they just aren't. True. Everybody's happy here. I love it. Yeah. It's a fact. Unless there are Oiler fans, and there were a lot of them at the game last night. One of them I live with, and I'm not sure if she's speaking yet. I'm like, are you mad at me? No, it's the Oilers again. And your thoughts on the game? Do you want it? Can you? Do you want to?
Rod, I am, when you've been around so many teams over the decades in our cases, and you certainly have a handle on it because you're around them, but it doesn't mean you necessarily understand it better than a fan who watches on TV or goes to games. I mean, I'm left a bit puzzled and confused because I know this is a really good team. I know it. And someone will say, well, have you checked the record lately? And I'd say, I have. And the two don't compute. Like, yes, there have been goaltending challenges. Yes, the defense hasn't been as strong, and I mean that from an entire club standpoint. And yes, Connor and Leon haven't put up the numbers that they have, and the power play isn't as historical as it was last year. So I'm naming all these things, but I'm confused that I'm naming all these things because it's just not the team that everyone, including themselves, expected. And I think we continue to sort of wait for them to not only get out of it, to blast out of it. And they did win 3 in a row under 2 different coaches, but now it's 2 losses in a row. And listen, there's some really good teams out there. Beating Florida isn't easy for anybody. Tampa beat Boston last night. So that's the thing. Everybody's trying to win. So you just don't rattle off 7 or 8 game win streaks. So those can be a challenge, especially when you don't quite have the confidence you normally do that Edmonton has had for, well, a few years now.
Well, if they knew the answer, they'd have done it. And I think the fans don't realize the difference in the roles. You're the host. You're not the analyst. So I appreciate you answering that. But that isn't necessarily your job. But an interesting question's come in from Darren Ippolito. Oh, my. Sorry, I went to the doctor today, gave blood. Band-Aid keeps coming on. I'm sweating down here. Darren says, do the broadcasters and media feel the outside pressure from fans as much as the players, or more? Because you're more visible and less sheltered as teams try to protect their players from the distractions. It's an interesting question.
For
How
sure.
would you answer that?
Yeah, it is good perspective because, you know, we don't have an impact on the results. Yes, if it's 2-0, we don't say the S word. We for sure don't try and jinx anybody, depending on your beliefs when it comes to that. I'm kind of superstitious from that standpoint. You know, last night we told a little story how the Oilers, Connor McDavid, you know, just isn't having the season that we expected. That he's a phenomenal player, generational talent, and he's proven it every season. And the Oilers sent their video coach to send him some video of his goals last year. And lo and behold, he picks up a couple of goals. So I thought that was a neat story. As you know, Rod, sometimes stories, life is all about timing. And the timing of that was good. But then in the end, the result wasn't good. And so Connor wears it. I mean, he doesn't wear it on his sleeve. He wears it on his face when things aren't going well for the team. And yes, we are more accessible. I go to the grocery store. I go get gas. I coach my daughter's soccer team. People want to talk about the Oilers, and I love it. Just like you, when you've worked for the Pats and the Riders. I mean, that's great. That's part of our job, really. I just don't have the answers that they're looking for. But the questions continue to come in because we are accessible and we are seen, no helmet, no visor, seen for 2.5 hours, 3, sometimes 4 nights a week. So, I mean, bring it on. People are caring about it. Like, they're worried, right? They're curious. They want the team to be better. They don't come at you like a sledgehammer. So we try and answer what we can, courtesy of what we know.
Well, like I say, last night, before the game even started, you just got mobbed by people. I'm like, can we pull that canopy out for Gene? You have it for the teams, but can we pull it out for Gene? And in Saskatchewan, oh, my God, I've lived it. Now, having said all that,
sure.
a fun one here. People see what they see on TV, and they think Connor is that, and I don't think that. Maybe you're a complete jerk off the air, Gene. Maybe you are. I don't know. The reason I bring this up, Mark Spector, I spent more time with Mark Spector last night than I ever have.
Yeah.
And I was like, what a great guy. Oh, my, he wanted to know everything about me and this show and Florida. And I'm like, what a great guy. 12 hours later, he's embroiled in this Twitter horrible thing, and I'm like, the poor. Now I'm on Mark's side because I got to know him. Like, he didn't do anything wrong. You know,
Rod, I think that's one of the things, and from your time around athletes and people, you end up. Listen, I grew up an Oilers fan, so yeah, I'm an Oilers fan, and I work at not showing that on TV. And with time, it becomes easier because you pull for people, right? You know, Carter Verhaeghe had such a great quote after his 100th goal, which he scored his 101st last night. Former Lightning, for a current Panther, and he just, you know, he talked about being in the ECHL, and it took him 6 years and 2 trades to get to the NHL. So you start cheering for people, and we all have our favorite teams. I mean, that doesn't go away. It doesn't. You don't put it in a garbage can and leave it behind in a hotel room. And Mark, I've known Mark almost 40 years, to be honest with you, back in the University of Alberta days, CJSR radio station there. We used to do sports updates, both of us trying to make it in the media world. And yeah, we arrived in Carolina, and I saw the back and forth with Tim Peel, a former NHL referee who I've always had good dealings with. You know, Tim was always a really engaging guy to chat with, and but you know, if you didn't see or hadn't heard, Tim posted on Twitter a text conversation between the two, and last I checked, I think it had 1.4 million likes. So, you know, I called Mark this morning to see, because he's arriving in Carolina later, and I just called, hey buddy, how are you? You know, and he said, okay, you know, it's been a tough stretch for him, and there's lots of things you think about. You think about your family, you think about your job, you think about your reputation, and Mark was in a better place when I talked to him about an hour ago than he would have been about 6 hours ago or 5 hours ago when it all sort of broke overnight. So it is tough, and, you know, lessons learned all the time about once you send somebody something, you lose control of it, and you don't know what's going to happen with it. Not that I haven't, you know, we text people all the time, and I've often seen stories on Twitter, happy stories, right, that people have texted back and forth, and oh shucks, isn't that cute, or how beautiful, big heart. I think this is about the first time I've seen something like this in our sports world, Rod. So it was a bit shocking, and curious to see the fallout reaction response from people about what occurred.
Everybody will have their own perspective, but please tell Mark from us, he's got 2 new fans in Rod and Serena, and he didn't do anything wrong. So, Gene, thanks for the time. I know you're busy. Always enjoy your work, man. Thanks for the time and being you.
Yeah, no problem, Rod. Anytime, say hello to Serena. I love the Oilers jacket, and love the fact that you can take the Oiler fan out of oil country, but you can never take the Oilers out of them. So neat to see the support all over for Edmonton.
Thank you, sir. The great Gene
Take care, buddy.
From Rogers Sportsnet Oilers coverage. What a great job. What a great guy. We'll be right back with a sports update after this. Arash Madani coming up in hour 2. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Jumping right into it, a sports update from this Tuesday. What a day. Thanks for being with us, everybody. Boston Bruins forward Milan Lucic was released on personal recognizance bail today after pleading not guilty to assaulting his wife. Lucic did not speak at his arraignment this morning. A plea of not guilty was entered on his behalf, and a pretrial hearing was set for January 19th. Columbus Blue Jackets defenseman Damon Severson of Melville Sask is expected to be out 6 weeks after suffering an oblique injury in the struggling team's latest loss. General manager Jarmo Kekalainen announced Severson's prognosis today that will likely keep the 29-year-old out until after the new year. And Rogers Centre is unrecognizable after extensive renovations began on the downtown Toronto ballpark last month. The Blue Jays released photos of the demolition of most of the stadium's lower bowl today. Photos and video show that the field and all the seats on the 100 level have been torn out. The Blue Jays say that the second phase of the Rogers Centre renovations will be complete in time for the home opener on April the 8th. Sports updates brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas in theaters now, 5 Nights at Freddy's. Can you survive 5 nights? The terrifying horror game phenomenon becomes a blood-chilling cinematic event as producer Blumhouse brings 5 Nights at Freddy's to the big screen. So, that's what's awesome about daytime sports talk. A lot of balls in the air. We can talk more about Lucic next hour. Moose will rejoin us. Arash Madani will be with us. We'll talk about Tim Peel, Mark Spector, the Edmonton Oilers. No games tonight in the NHL, and great CFL, Grey Cup ratings. Didn't get to that NBA stuff yet, but we will right after this.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
No! If you had to lose one item into the fire, what would you rather be, a hot dog or a marshmallow? 80% of people saying they couldn't bear to lose the hot dog.
How about that?
But when a marshmallow's burning, it's on fire, man, that's just a horrible feeling, too.
Right. I know.
And you can't touch it.
And you're looking around, everybody's occupied with their own thing, and you're like, help me, somebody blow it out.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, it is. Guilty as charged. Thank you, Rick Regan, the pride of Boca Raton, Florida. That's where we're broadcasting from with episode number 1125 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. It's like Canada's PTI. That's what it is. And let's bring in Darren Moose-Dupont. He's in Toronto. I appreciate the Toronto viewers. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be more than happy to be the grumpy Tony Kornheiser, who you notice is in his study every show. Tony Kornheiser puts a suit on and gets his glasses out. Every show, he's in his study. I get it. The weather ain't as good in Washington. Isn't that where he is? Yeah. He's in Washington, right? I think he is. Oh, man, this show's going great. It's going great. I don't even know where to start. Other than Darren, a slight detour from what we normally talk about with the hockey and the football, and trust me, we're coming right back to that. But two things that were in my quick six I haven't got to yet. It's tournament night in the NBA again. The Toronto Raptors visit the Orlando Magic as part of a 5-game slate tonight for in-season tournament action. Toronto dropped its group play opener to Boston last Friday, narrowly falling 108-105. The Celtics currently lead East Group C at 2-0. And former Blue Jay slugger Jose Bautista is one of 12 new candidates on the Baseball Hall of Fame ballot. The outfielder made it to 6 straight All-Star games from 2010 to 2015 in his time with Toronto, and he led the majors in home runs in 2010 and 2011. And Troy in Toronto writes that he goes, I think Jose Bautista has zero chance to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame simply because his numbers are just not good enough. Had some great years, but not great years for a long period of time. So that's from Troy. So for our Toronto viewers, there's our spice and all that. But this NBA in-season tournament, they're making a real big deal of it where I live here. And I just don't really see the point. I'm not against it. I'm not an NBA nor basketball guy, so they don't clearly care what I think. But you? You? What do you think?
Demo. Neither am I.
No.
But, you know, I think the idea is to drum up some more meaningful games during the season to reduce the monotony of a long season. You know, we have the long season in hockey.
Oh, my God.
With game after game. We have it in basketball. But the idea is that you'll play in these round-robin games. I was kind of looking into it when you brought it up. These round-robin games, the group play, then you'll get into the playdowns. And all those games count the same way towards your regular season standings. Everybody still plays the same number of regular season games. The only game that doesn't count and is an extra game is the championship game of this tournament. But what I don't know is what's on the line in this tournament. Is there a big bonus on the line? Is there an extra draft pick up for grabs? Why should I care if my team wins the NBA in-season tournament? What do I get besides a little trophy, right? I want to know. So do you get, you know,
I think it's a big trophy.
Is it, yeah. But a big trophy.
I think it's a big trophy. Well, that's what they've got on the floor of the Heat Arena here. I think it's the Casio Arena. Just a mural of that big trophy. So I don't know. It's odd. The Raptors were at the Magic tonight, but they're not coming to the Heat. It's unbelievable. We'll always be grateful that you came here to visit for our 1000th show. That was in April. We talk about it a lot. There's just so much going on. One of my football friends texted me last night. He wanted to talk about something, a guy here, and I'm like, can't talk. I'm at the Panthers game. And I'm like, oh, the Raptors are coming to town? Well, apparently they're not. I'm just real grateful and lucky that there's a high-level sporting event going on every single day and night here, and I don't want to travel anymore. I don't. Life is grand. Yeah. Now, what's interesting, John Glower writes in, Johnny G, he says, what makes this show work, it's the fact that it's organic. It's real talk, life experiences. In regards to Milan Lucic, I truly hope that he gets some help. As you know, Rod, alcohol can be evil. I actually tweeted this and said, if alcohol makes you do things that you would never do sober, maybe it's time to rethink it being a part of your life. And all these I talked about last hour, the Twitter feud going on between Spector and Tim Peel, and now Ryan Rashog's involved, and Frank Saravelli. Look, I did all the bad things for a long time. And actually, even after I stopped for a long time, I had a tough time saying to people, maybe look at it. It's not the way to go, because I felt kind of hypocritical. And then I had some very influential people come to me and say, you've been given this platform and the ability to spread that message. So don't worry about that. You're here to help other people. So with the alcohol thing, with the Lucic thing, people, I'm seeing this going on Twitter now. Suspend Lucic. First-time offense from what I know. I don't want to get into any more. I'm wearing a pair of team-issued Calgary Flames shorts right now. I showed the world last hour. Can you see the C logo on there? Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Got my Flames shorts on. So I know a lot about Milan Lucic from his time with the Calgary Flames. They all love him. So I'll say it again. If alcohol makes you do things that you wouldn't do sober, maybe it's time to look at it. That's all. I hope they don't suspend him. That's between him and his wife and the authorities and the Bruins and the National Hockey League. I want the best for everybody. Sounds like it could have been worse. So there's that. Where's this guy? Devin in BC says this tournament thing would be interesting if the team who wins it gets one of the playoff spots. Yeah, I guess. But I like that play-in thing they had last year. The teams 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. That made the teams that were on the cusp of the playoffs late in the year, it made them relevant. Again, I'm not against trying new things. I'm not. I wish the CFL would try new things. And they don't want to. That I can see, unless you can think of some off the top of your head that I'm missing. I think the CFL needs a little more shot in the arm. So then, and I'm not the NBA guy. So who cares what Rod thinks? I really like that the NHL went over to Sweden. I like that they went to Australia. I like that global part of what the NHL's doing. And for a second, I thought it'd be nice if the CFL went and played in Mexico or Germany or Europe or Australia, but they don't have the money to do that. So it's unfortunately, it's apples and oranges. Yet, trying to land the plane here, Moose. 3.5 million people tuning into the Grey Cup on Sunday. Actually, at points of the game, I think I saw 6, 7, 8 million Canadians watched some part of the game. And the buzz last night in the press box here at the Oilers-Panthers game was huge numbers. Stanley Cup final worthy numbers for the Grey Cup. That's where it tricks people.
Yeah.
God, don't strike me down for saying this, but they are not in the same stratosphere as the NHL or NFL. They just aren't. I'll be honest, when I first got into the CFL, it was a steak and lobster league. And a lot of these current owners and GMs, and I don't know enough about the commissioner, but a lot of the current people have turned it into a cheese and cracker league. And that really ticks me off. Because there are so many Mickey Mouse aspects to the league that they'll hide behind these ratings on Sunday for the 110th Grey Cup and go, see, we're big time. Yeah, but a Pee Wee girls hockey team has a better stat system than you do. Like, come on.
Oh, no.
What do you think? Am I completely off base? Because I might be.
No, I mean, for one day a year, they have, those NHL numbers, those big-time numbers, which is important. And you know what? The ratings have been up throughout the year. Look, they're coming off a good year, okay? I'll give them that. Let's give them that. Because there was some times not so long ago where it was bad. And actually, the NFL is going through some tough times right now because they can't keep their quarterbacks healthy. And what have we said throughout? Is when your quarterbacks are healthy and you have household names and you're playing well at that position, the ratings go up, the interest goes up. When the quarterbacks, and we don't know who they are, they're not making plays, numbers go down. And in the CFL this year, there was quarterbacks in every market that had a story or a name, and I know there was some injuries still. Hamilton dealt with theirs, Ottawa for sure, but there were, key spots locked down in all the major markets, it seems, across the country. That's what was good for the CFL. But now it's up to the league to continue to build off this. You can't rest on it. You can't put your feet up and say, hey, we did it. We did it. We had all these millions of viewers. We've accomplished it. Now we can, unwind for the offseason. No, you got to keep building, put your foot down. And it could get back to that, you called it a steak and lobster league. And I hope that it does, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
And acknowledging their faults, which a lot of them don't want to do. So, nobody does.
Right.
John, appreciate you, John. He writes in and he says, I like when sports teams go into other markets to play games. I mean, I got to be honest, it's 1:11 Eastern. How about that? How about that, everybody? 11:11 Mountain. How about that? Visualize a positive outcome to your current quagmire. Just visualize positivity. I'll say it. We were about 1 hour ago on this show when I said this, and I'll say it again. Because I lived the life of where they're at in sports. It's a really tough life. It is. Because I got a lot of people coming to me that are in the sports world now saying, how do I reconcile in my heart what I know what's right, but I see what's going on with my team or with my network or my station, and I know that's wrong. How do I reconcile that? And we deal with it. So much of it is so wrong. And as entertaining as this spat is between Tim Peel and Frank Saravelli and Mark Spector, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. Spector got torched by Tim Peel in a private message. The former NHL referee coming after the Oilers reporter for Sportsnet. They went after each other. Spector thought it was private. Tim Peel puts it on Twitter for the world. Frank Saravelli comes out and goes right at his jugular. And I would not screw with Frank Saravelli. He's from Philly. No go. Not from me. But I would sit here and go, as salacious as this is to read, it's terrible. They said some really ugly things. You're an effing fraud. You know, you're drunk tweeting again and deleting it. You're this, you're that. God, this is horrible. Does it feel good to be involved in this? How's it feel? And I'll be honest with you, with how sucky the Oilers have been. I was talking to a broadcast guy, what's today, Tuesday? On Sunday, a guy in broadcast from a team broadcaster that said, we're already on our knees kissing your ass. Enough, team. How much more do you want? You suck.
Hot damn.
There's no end to it. Nobody wants to, and I'm not obviously going to say what the team is, but they wouldn't want to admit, yeah, we suck. No, let's just tar and feather the guy that's delivering your message every day. That's hard, man. You still there?
Yeah, I thought you were reading something. Sorry, a comment.
I was.
But it is. It is tough. Like, yeah, go ahead.
Well, Reg Dunlop writes in and says, who gives a crap about this hissy fit between these two? Well, to be honest, according to Gene Principe last hour, about 1.4 million people last he looked as of this morning. So, like, it's entertaining. I said it's entertaining to watch this. You alerted me to it. But they're not acting. That's the one thing about sports. It ain't pro wrestling. These guys aren't acting. This is real. And they're big names, Reg. So, that's why I said. Troy in Toronto says, by the way, devil's advocate, if you bet on sports, you get a 40-game suspension. But if you abuse your wife, you shouldn't get suspended? What are your thoughts on that? Well, we got a couple minutes. Number one, there's no rhyme or reason. Were you not listening, Troy? I just said it's so screwed up. Number one. So what should happen won't. And I don't really think I need to go to 2, 3, and 4. Right, Darren, to inject any logic into this. What would be the point?
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, sports is not real life. Like, for instance, you bet on sports, you get a 41-game suspension. But we're going to slap a Bet Regal sticker on your helmet. So what? Well, it's a mixed message. Who cares? Shut up. Psh. It's paying your salary. It's like your kid. Don't smoke. But, Dad, you're smoking. Shut up. Do what I do. Sorry, do what I say, not what I do. Mixed message.
Yes.
It's bad parenting. Sports teams are... Go ask the NHL, Troy, and see what you get for an answer. What do you think they would say, Darren? Mind your business.
Yeah, exactly. Good luck on that one. You know, the smoking analogy is great. We're going to tell you not to do it, but meanwhile, I'm smoking a dart while I'm telling you, smoking's bad for you. And son, if I ever catch you smoking, you know, the betting thing, yeah, it is. I mean,
son.
Exactly.
The betting thing? Go ahead, sorry.
Well, no, the betting thing is just the money coming in. You have to find a way to separate it. And unfortunately, yeah, it's going to be all over the arena. But it's the same, you know, the betting thing with the advertising and the players not being able to do it is the same as selling cheeseburgers at the concession and beers. I can't eat that as a high-performance athlete, but they're going to sell it to the crowd. So you have to, you know, that's exactly what it is.
Allie in Texas says, never put anything in writing that you wouldn't want read in court. A wise attorney told me that one time. I could go through the audience. We're having a good back and forth. And by the way, for the guy that said, who cares about the Twitter spat between these guys? They took a day off from bitching about how bad the Oilers are. Can you at least give us that and watch this entertaining spat? Okay, Moose, I won't bring you back. You did great today. Go have a great Toronto day. All right.
Enjoy.
Sportsnet's Arash Madani joins us next, and we'll get into the NBA stuff, the in-season tournament, good or bad, recap of the Coupe de Grey. Lots to get to with our guy Arash when we return on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The next stop on the Mixed Doubles Super Series is Winnipeg, Manitoba. Catch all the action from Fort Rouge Curling Club with 3-sheet coverage.
Yes!
Head to MDSuperSeries.com to subscribe today and watch some of the world's best mixed doubles curlers face off live.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
A reminder, the text line's brought to you by our friends at Sober Carpenter Non-Alcoholic Craft Beers, 902-518-3033. That's 902-518-3033. And the news out of the National Hockey League today, breaking news on this Tuesday, Milan Lucic has pleaded not guilty. He was released on personal recognizance, the charge assaulting his wife, member of the 2011 Stanley Cup winning Bruins team. As a condition of his bail, he was prohibited from abusing the alleged victim and from consuming alcohol. That's what's new today. Let's bring in Sportsnet's Arash Madani. Now we got more time than normal to talk with our dude who's just back from the Grey Cup, the Coupe de Grey. But if I may, Arash, can I jump in and start with the NBA and your thoughts on the in-season tournament? Looks like it's the first year that they're doing it. Are you a thumbs up or thumbs down on this?
I'm a shrug my shoulders kind of guy on this whole thing, Rod. I get why they're doing it, trying to get attention for themselves in November, which is a dead time in the NBA season. I always used to say I didn't really follow the NBA until Christmas Day. Now it's just become, with the expansion of the NFL playoffs, with the college football playoff, I don't really follow the NBA until after the Super Bowl. So my take on the whole thing is I don't know how many people actually know what the in-season tournament is.
I'm glad that it's not just me. I've had to do a lot of studying, and the more I've read, the less I'm interested in it, to be honest. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Raptors at Orlando tonight, though, by the way. Now, I don't know where you want to go. My inkling's to ask you about the 110th Grey Cup, the thrilling finish. You had wall-to-wall coverage, as you always do. Were you having as much fun as it seemed in the Hammer?
Yeah, it was solid, and it was solid from a content standpoint because there was a lot to chew on. I find the Marc-Antoine Dequoy story so awesome. And it has nothing to do with his post-game rant, even though that was spectacular. Because, Roddy, you and I are of a certain vintage where we remember when Matthew Prue arrived on the scene. And Matthew Prue was one of the first great French-Canadian safeties. And then he gave way to Etienne Boulay, and together they won a couple of championships. And Marc-Olivier Brouillette was more of a strong side linebacker than a safety. But Dequoy grew up watching those two dudes and idolizing those two guys. And so on our Friday story was about kind of one generation passing into the next and how they have similarities and instincts and the rest. And then, suddenly it becomes fitting on walkthrough day on Saturday. He's rocking a T-shirt with Prue and Boulay on it. So that kind of symmetry, that was great. And I just thought Zach was going to be better in the Grey Cup. I thought he was finally going to put together a postseason game, and just didn't again.
Yeah. Well, look, so let's dissect that a little bit. Just on M.O. Marco Brulette. You forgot to mention that he's a vegan. And I'll never forget on a road trip, we had him in Sask for a brief time. So as they're handing out trays of chicken or beef, and he got his vegan meal, obviously you know him. He looked around and said, "Enjoy it, you savages." He's just a great guy. I don't know if he's still doing color for the Alouettes radio or not, but if he's not, he should be. What about, where does this rate on Grey Cup upsets of all time out of the 110 that have been played?
I don't know. I mean, I thought last year's was just as much of an upset, to be quite honest with you. Look, I think if we're being real here, we have to just acknowledge what the reality is. Winnipeg blew it. Winnipeg absolutely blew it. And it is still stunning and staggering to me how this whole thing with them shook down. Because the Bombers didn't play a particularly strong second half. They get outscored 21-7. But they were the better team. And they got out-coached, they got outplayed, they got out-schemed, they got outclassed. I thought Collaros just became so gun-shy after that interception in the end zone when he was trying to find Kenny Lawler, and then it was almost like they ignored Kenny Lawler, who was the best receiver on the field, not named Austin Mack. And still amidst all that, Roddy, they had 2nd and 18. All they had to do was make a play or two. And what happens? Cody Fajardo improvising to set up third and manageable. A 13-yard rush when nothing was really there, and then the pass down the sideline, then ultimately finding Philpott in the end zone. That is 2 straight absolute meltdowns by the Blue Bombers, and they need to do a deep dive into the why. And once they start digging into the why, there's got to be a lot of soul searching and people looking in the mirror saying, we got to change the way we do things around here. Because only dressing 6 defensive backs was not smart. Brandon Alexander should not be playing halfback. The decision to go with Adam Bighill, as courageous as it was, that's a waste of a roster spot, in that place. And you have to finish seasons like this. And the Blue Bombers did.
From the audience. By the way, I apologize. Lawn guys coming around. Sometimes it's Saturday night, sometimes it's Tuesday afternoon, sometimes it's Friday morning, whatever. He's the Forrest Gump of lawn maintenance. You never know what you're going to get. Yeah. Sandy Nelson says, way to go, Fajardo. Loved him in Sask, but didn't think he had an offensive coordinator. Moz. Clearly, Sandy was wrong. Let's just spend a minute on this. Somebody wrote in yesterday as a Rider fan and said, can we move on this narrative? And I'm like, yeah, no, not ready to move on. The whole Fajardo thing and the way it ended and the way it made Sask look, I was just a little shocked. I'm like, people now, even Rider fans, you didn't realize this team was in serious trouble and direction until Cody Fajardo won a Grey Cup with somebody else? What? We should spend a minute on that. Even Jim Hobson said culture is a big problem with that Saskatchewan football team right now.
And it's Fajardo for sure, and it's also Jason Moss. Like, think about the scenario Jason Moss inherited. They didn't have an owner. They didn't have money to spend in free agency. Trevor Harris, Eugene Lewis, they went out the door. And Moss got buy-in by a group of, well, Fajardo called them this, and he called them the misfits. He said it's a bunch of guys, free agents, cast-offs. We've all kind of come together. Nobody else wanted us, and we all bought into this whole deal. And, Roddy, the more I'm just kind of watching and following this, I just don't understand how status quo continues to go in Regina, in Saskatchewan. I mean, how many more thousands of empty seats do there have to be? How many more losing seasons does that fan base have to endure before people on the board kind of understand what is happening here? It's right in front of your face, literally, at so many different turns. That said, I was among the people who didn't think Cody Fajardo had it. To me, I look at the East Final and it's the 9 turnovers, and you come into this Grey Cup game, and I thought that Winnipeg's pass rush would do something. They did next to nothing. But when it really mattered, Roddy, as our friend John Gibbons would say, when it was nut-cutting time, Cody Fajardo did it. Under 2 minutes to go, 83 yards needed. I mentioned it. 2nd and 18, 3rd and 5, the throw to Philpott. That's the stuff of legend. That's what makes you a champion. And Fajardo played his absolute best when the stakes were the absolute highest. And so now Cody Fajardo, whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, is a franchise quarterback. He's a championship quarterback. His legacy has changed because when it was all on the line, he performed, he delivered, he did it. And they're Grey Cup champs.
Well, you're good friends with Eddie Steele. Dude, I could talk about this for hours. We have viewers that want to talk about your shirt, so I'll try to move on. But you got a lot of respect for Eddie Steele, and so do I. There's a lot of guys that were not Fajardo believers. Eddie had no reason to not. He wasn't biased. He's won a Grey Cup. Eddie knows. He's like, this guy's not.
You watch what you watch, right? You watch what you watch. You're saying to yourself, yeah.
Right. Yeah. As a quarterback, the doubters fuel you. And I guess that would be a good segue to Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. And Troy in Toronto writes in, who, by the way, is a Packers fan, and says, Arash, you made me laugh so loud with that shirt. My employees wondered what the heck is going on in my office. So good. Hilarious. Viking fan to the bone. Explain, please.
after 5.5 years, Roddy, I feel like I've gotten a reprieve from the governor. I have escaped Shawshank. I get fresh air. I get sunshine. I get my team back. We have a quarterback who can run around, a quarterback who can improvise, somebody who can make plays. Nothing has to be on schedule. I don't know if you know this, if the audience knows, Joshua Dobbs was a 4.0 GPA at the University of Tennessee in the SEC as an aeronautical engineering major. He interned at NASA. NASA actually sent out a tweet congratulating him after the Falcons win, calling him the Pastronaut. I am all in on Josh Dobbs. Yes, he looks in the mirror and look at the reflection. It's so fun. The guy runs around. He does his thing. He's the Pastronaut. He's got dudes believing. This close to beating Denver on Sunday night. Not for a Madison fumble and the pick and what nearly was interception in the end zone on a Cortland Sutton game-winning touchdown. It's been so fun. It's been so fun to get your team back and to watch exciting offense. And Josh Dobbs has been a blast.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm just calling up the National Football League now in that NFC North, the black and blue division, as some call it. I mean,
it's Honolulu Blue now. That's what the division is. It's Detroit Lions Honolulu Blue.
And what a story that is. What a story. Do you hate, I know you hate Green Bay. Do you hate the Lions?
Oh, no. You don't hate the Lions. You can't hate the Lions. Like, you can't hate UNICEF, you know? And growing up in Nova Scotia, our CBS affiliate was Detroit for the longest time, and our NBC affiliate came from New England. So I was just used to watching dreadful football, except for Barry Sanders, and you just appreciated that. And their story is awesome, and the way they're building it is so good through the draft. I mean, they're just hitting on their picks. And Dan Campbell's great TV. He's great theater. And it's hard not to kind of root for him. You know, Aiden Hutchinson's an absolute beast.
Yeah.
They're cardiac kids too, Roddy. Like, they win games in wild fashion. So I can't wait for Thursday. And I can't wait for them to beat the Packers, because it's always great when the Packers lose.
Oh, U.S. Thanksgiving would be a wonderful time for you to come visit. It's like you and I, when we get together, we can spend a lot of time chatting about things, Arash. And you said, was it WDIV was your affiliate that you watched out there in Detroit?
That was
or
one
from
of
Detroit?
them. Yeah, WDK was the main Detroit one that we had for the longest time.
But Bernie Smotovich, Weekend at Bernie's.
Yes.
Carmen Harlan.
There we go.
Yeah, all of them. Well, the power of the media. Like, people don't understand. You understand. I understand. In my little town, grade 9 social class, Mr. McGarry, our teacher, said, show of hands, how many know the mayor of Detroit? In Milestone, Saskatchewan, everybody said, Coleman Young. Because we all watched the news after school on WDIV. He said, how many of you know the mayor of Regina? Not even half the arms went up. 30 miles away. The power, I'll never forget that experiment, man. Long live Coleman Young and Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
Anything else, sir?
It's good to see you, man. No, everything's good. We missed you a Grey Cup this year. I tell you, that finish was really good. That was really good. But our friends in Winnipeg, man, they got some figuring things out to do, and you can't point at one thing. There's so much there in 4 quarters of football that I think that game revealed, and they got to sort it out, because if they don't, it's going to be the same thing all over again.
Sure, but they're doing it from a position of strength. 4 straight Grey Cup appearances. I'd rather be in their shoes than a lot of others across the CFL.
Yeah, except not yesterday and not today. Because here's the thing, Roddy. The other thing that we have to remember is there a championship window closing? Like, what are the futures of Big Hill and Bryant and Hardrick, Neufeld,
Willie?
Yeah, sure, Brandon Alexander. Like, there's a lot of guys who've been there a long time, and I'm just stunned about Collaros. Like, this is now 9 postseason games. You can look at his last 9 postseason games, the sample size. It's 6 touchdowns and 8 picks. It's baffling. It is absolutely baffling what happens to him in November. So there's a lot to look at here.
Absolutely. All right. Happy U.S. Thanksgiving, sir. Keep in touch.
Great to see you, bud.
All right. Same. The great Arash Madani. We'll be back with a sports update, audience takeover. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
RP show continues. What a day. It's going to continue to be a great one right up until the top of the hour. But it is just me and you, the audience, and the guy next door with the leaf blower or whatever the hell he's doing. I would love to schedule the show around it or tell these guys that we're on live national television. They don't care. Trust me, I've thought about it and tried. They don't care. 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. The Sober Carpenter text line is always humming. Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beers. And, of course, our hockey talk is brought to you by Common Crown and our sports updates. Last hour, we went probably deeper than I thought we would with Gene Principe of Rogers Sportsnet Oilers coverage. They were just here in Sunrise last night. And I find it very interesting. And I will get to the sports update in a moment because when I said it's going to get more interesting, you're going to find out why. But I said last night, the Oilers have tried I said it on Twitter, everything they can possibly think of, and they still suck. And a lot of people came after me on Twitter. You can go look at it in the replies. Oiler fans saying mean personal things that really hurt my feelings. And I kind of laughed at it because it was little like my brothers. They could beat the ever-living snot and tar out of me, and that was fine. But if somebody else laid a hand on me, they'd be picking up their teeth with a broken arm. But they could do whatever they wanted. Same with the Oiler fans. They can dump on their team, but nobody else can. Sorry, don't work that way. But anyways, we had a lot of Oiler coverage last hour with Gene. Spoiler alert, he doesn't know what's wrong with him either. And FYI, nobody does. Because if they did know, they would have done it by now. Breaking news, couple of items from this Tuesday. Boston Bruins forward Milan Lucic was released on personal recognizance, bailed today after pleading not guilty to assaulting his wife. According to a Boston Police Department report, Lucic appeared intoxicated when officers arrived at his North End apartment early Saturday after his wife reported that he tried to choke her. Brittany Lucic told the responding officers that her husband had pulled her hair, but said he did not try to strangle her. She declined an offer of medical treatment. Lucic was arrested on suspicion of assault and battery on a family member, which carries a maximum penalty of 2.5 years in prison. Lucic did not speak at his arraignment this morning. A plea of not guilty was entered on his behalf, and a pretrial hearing was set for January 19th. As condition of his bail, Lucic was prohibited from abusing the alleged victim and from consuming alcohol at all. So, look, I did not spend a very large part of the last 2 years in Calgary in vain. There's a reason that I know, and also reasons that I don't know why I was brought to Calgary. But I was around the Saddle Dome a lot. I was down. I saw Brittany, I saw their kids a lot. It's a sad situation that this happened. I won't say any more than what I know about Milan at all. But people are wondering, how could you say that he shouldn't be suspended? Because I see this all the time, deal with it all the time. I believe this is a first-time offense. And the courts, quite frankly, generally will rule in favor of a person who's willing to own up to it and vow to change. Lawn guy's back. Doesn't care. Doesn't care. If I could, I would reach over and show you him, but it doesn't matter. You might see him. There you go. Can you see him? Pretty soon he's going to be coming onto your screen. There you go. Lawn guy's back. As we sit with a very important topic right now. He don't care. Placeline, New York. The NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball have joined forces to produce a 30-second ad promoting responsible sports betting. The Never Know What's Next commercial unveiled today is a coordination of the three leagues, sportsbook operators, DraftKings, Fanatics, Penn Entertainment, and the National Council on Problem Gambling. Scott Kaufman-Ross, the NBA's senior VP and head of gaming and new business ventures, said it was important to educate especially young bettors on the inherent risk of sports gambling and correct the misperception that it's a good way to make money. Here's a quote from Scott Kaufman-Ross of the NBA. With more fans than ever having the opportunity to legally bet in their home states, it is imperative that we work with our media and sportsbook partners, as well as with our friends at the NBA and MLB, to inform and emphasize the risks and encourage the importance of setting limits and betting responsibly, especially among our growing fan base in the younger demographic. The ad's message is to remind bettors to set betting limits and gamble responsibly. It's set to air during the Cavaliers 76ers in-season tournament game on TNT and on the league's social media channels. Isn't that nice? Just like the beer commercials that we also see. Drink responsibly. 9 out of 10 people can do that, no problem. 1 out of 10 can't. And a lot of times you find out too late. Sports updates brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In theaters now, Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, starring Rachel Zegler and Tom Blythe. And Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. I'll apologize on behalf of Lawn Guy. He doesn't care, but I do, that you had to sit through that while he manicured our backyard, our expansive backyard here. We'll be right back with a audience takeover in overtime. Should be spicy, whatever you'd like to talk about. Next. You'll see him again. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
The next stop on the Mixed Doubles Super Series is Winnipeg, Manitoba. Catch all the action from Fort Rouge Curling Club with 3-sheet coverage.
Yes!
Head to MDSuperSeries.com to subscribe today and watch some of the world's best mixed doubles curlers face off live.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's overtime here in paradise. I'm telling you, start spreading the news. The Florida Panthers have won 6 in a row at home. How about that? Weaseled their way into TSN's top 5 in the NHL, those Florida Panthers. And they beat the Oilers last night 5-3 without Barkey. Alexander Barkov did not play. Lawn guy still not done. My God, at least he's thorough. Credit to this. He shut off the leaf blower for the entire 4 minutes we were in commercial and just started again. Or it's not a leaf blower, actually, I don't think. He's like manicuring the lawn, which reminds me, audience takeover. Fake Gainer has written in. Where is it? He said, can the RP show get an endorsement deal with Kubota or John Deere? Better lawnmowers than snowblowers. I don't know. Let's talk to the sales team. They're too busy with sober carpenters. It is 902-518-3033. But on the topic of the pathetic Oilers, I'm sorry. They're pathetic, and the Oiler fans can say it, but if we say it, we're jerks. No, they're bad. Admit it. We can all see it. So the poll question is, and have a look, Clark, to see what they're saying, if you don't mind, on YouTube, and I'll call up the Twitter. Our poll question is, will the Edmonton Oilers ever figure it out? Brought to you by Key Yorkton Kia. The all-new 2024 Kia Sportage reimagines innovation in motion. It pushes the boundaries of urban SUV design and technology with refinement and purpose. Go to KeyYorktonKia.com for more information. The 2024 Kia Sportage, movement that inspires. What are they saying on YouTube? 81% on YouTube say no, the Edmonton Oilers. On Twitter, 81% on Twitter say they will never figure it out. And the definition of will they figure it out or not is win a Stanley Cup in Connor McDavid's time. Iconic players. Like, listen, we sit there. It was an honor to even be able to watch Connor McDavid live. And people say he's better than Gretzky ever was. They're just different, okay? Why do we gotta? They're different. But if he does not win a Stanley Cup before his time's done, the Oilers blew it. And they're getting there. They're getting there. 81% of you saying they're not going to figure it out before he's done, and that would be a shame. And does he end his career there? Topic for another time. You want to trigger Serena? Ask her that. Her answer for that, by the way, is yes, he will end his career somewhere else, a la Gretzky, a la Ryan Smith. We're going to have to get her on to talk about that. We're brought to you by the Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, by the way, where skill and fun collide. An amusement park for hockey enthusiasts. Don't take my word for it. Go check it out yourself. 28th Street Northeast. Check out the Rod Pedersen Show lane. Special lane there. I'm still so honored that we even have that. They're just a slap shot from the old Crossroads Flea Market, 28th Street Northeast. Check them out. Tell them we sent you. To the text line, 902-518-3033. You know that our number one city for viewership remains Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. We love them so much. I only lived in the province for a half a century. That's all. So Roy writes in. He says, hi, Rod. It's Roy from Regina, a Rider fan. My comments are about this year's Grey Cup and the amount of Riders ex-players. Cody moved the ball on that last series by delivering it to his guys who got it done for them. Yes, it took an incredible team effort. We're very partial to ex-Rider quarterback Cody Fajardo because he never faltered in his mission to win the Cup. I'm also proud of the ex-riders on the 4-time Bombers Grey Cup participants. My question is, why couldn't the rider coaching staff and management see the value in our ex-rider players who are all playing in this Grey Cup game? Possibly we need better football people to coach and manage the guidance of our rider football team. Clark, tell me that this isn't going to go on all winter, please. Please, please. You can't promise me that? What I've dawned on me is I'll address this within the 2-hour time frame or a portion of the 2 hours, and I'm not addressing it outside the other 22 hours of the day. Because, Roy, they just gave your general manager a 3-year contract extension, and the president clearly has somehow finagled it that he's not going anywhere either. Nothing's going to change, Roy. So get another hobby. Kirk in Toronto writes in and says, "Hi, Rod. From my understanding, the Sky Dome renovations will make it a baseball stadium only. No football." Well, that's great because they don't play football there. Doesn't matter. Dougal Cameron writes in, says you could improve the CFL with one move. Give Ambrosi his walking papers. Jake Goddard must be appalled by Ambrosi's ham-handed tenure. That is the commissioner of the Canadian Football League. I was dismayed at this. They did not carry the pregame show. Last minute of play in the RP show. Colin in Ottawa says the boards of directors of Saskatchewan and Edmonton are huge impediments to the on-field success of their teams. Where were we? What was I talking about? Toronto. I forget. Squirrel. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, yeah, in what world is McDavid better than Gretzky? Well, you hear it. I don't agree with it. They say he's a fastest skater. They say, well, which he is, faster skater. Just watch, better puck handler. He's all that. And put McDavid on the 80s Oilers, who knows what would have happened? Who knows? Fun debate, though, isn't it? Thank you all for participating. We'll see you tomorrow at noon. Same TV and radio station. Same wonderful show. McFly, hello.